Hey there, welcome to School of Emo, the podcast where we dive into the world of emo, pop punk, and everything in between. If you've ever found yourself in your car screaming the lyrics to Taking Back Sunday, wearing way too much eyeliner in the early 2000s, adding a buckle or a chain to every outfit you've put on, you are in the right place. I'm Erin Judge, and each week I will be your fellow student, guiding you through the music, the culture, and the history that shaped an entire generation of angsty teens. I am not the teacher of this school. I am a fellow student, here to learn alongside you and from you. Together, we will cover a lot of information that doesn't really matter, but will remind us of the days of stalking MySpace channels and getting lost in chat rooms. So connect your dial-up, turn on your webcam, and let's go to School of Emo. We are back for another concert recap. I Love You, But I Chose the Maine tour featuring the Maine, Nashville, Tennessee at Marathon Music Works. So as usual, we're going to talk about the show. We're going to talk about some surprises. We're going to talk about the venue, the whole experience. So this one was not hard to get tickets. Thank God. A good, easy tour. But we got tickets on pre-sale forever ago. This is a band that my husband has really enjoyed, and we really liked their last album, and so we've been following along, and we've only seen them in like festival settings. We saw them at Sad Summer Fest in Nashville a few years ago, and that's whenever we were like, oh, they're really fun. I like their music, but like really fun to see live, like good energy. And then we got to see them at When We Were Young Fest in 2024. And so we've been watching and waiting for them to come back to Nashville, and they are currently on tour, also celebrating their latest album, which we sort of talked about in our setup for this. And that album has been really good. Like, I have loved it. The first songs that were released, like I thought were cool, like they're vibey, they're very summery, and my expectation with the first singles, there was like two, was that it was just going to be a good like summertime, like turn it on, easy to like be on a long drive listening to, on an easy walk, like while you're on a boat, like that kind of sound. Like they have that style of like pop punk summertime California style music. And this album I think is so perfect for that. Do I know each song individually very well? No, they all kind of stick together. But that's one thing I really like about it. So it was really cool to get to go to the tour and hear some of those new songs live. I wish it was all the new album, honestly, but it was a great mix of a lot of their music throughout their career, which was also great. If you're a fan, that's what you want. So the venue, if you've never been, Marathon Music Works, is like kind of an older like warehouse. It's part of this older industrial spot of Nashville. And so it's a stage with in a big room. So the merch is all in one spot, like right by the stage. The bathrooms are kind of right there. There's like a couple of bars, but it's really just one giant room with a stage. So the good thing is that you can usually see pretty well. The stage is pretty high. You can usually have a lot of space if you want to be towards the back or get towards the front, and it's really wide. Like the stage is super wide, so there's a lot of space to go. There's also like a VIP area that's up a little bit, so you're looking down on the stage. It's not great. We've done that before, learned that it's really not that valuable beyond like there's some tables you may be able to use. Not worth it for me. I'm exhausted from all these shows. But there's also like a section in the back. I think it might be VIP as well, or maybe it's just like you get first come, first serve. But it's elevated a little bit, and there's some tables and then some chairs there if you want that. But for most people, it's all just standing room only on a hard concrete floor. So it can be kind of a rough venue in terms of the sound. Thankfully, that was good for the show, but also your feet. So when you definitely want to wear good shoes. We got a free parking spot, so started off right. And then they have Daddy's Dogs, which is like a hot dog Nashville chain in the venue. But there's also a couple of breweries like connected to that space. They all typically close early. So if you get there early enough, depending on the day, they're daytime things. So we were able to grab a pizza at one of the tap rooms for one of the breweries because we got there right at the time that they were sort of wrapping up and closing, around the time that doors opened. But yeah, so that's how that went. But the show, doors opened pretty early, and there were three openers and then the main. So it was a pretty long show. We missed about like half of the first opener, which was Moody Joody, apparently a Nashville based band, female forward. They were really fun, like fun energy, easy to dance to. Like they had cool merch too. I saw some of their merch, but they had their setup. So we walked in while they were performing. We saw the second half of their set, which was actually pretty good. The next band was, I forgot who came first. I think it was Grayscale. Yeah, Grayscale was next. And they were based out of, what did they say? Like Philly. Yeah, they're a Philly based band. Um, so they were high energy. Like these bands were very much like the new era of pop punk, um, with like some more poppiness to it than punk, if that makes sense. I don't really know how to describe that genre, but it's what the younger generation is now creating, like their version of, kind of their version of a garage band. Not fully rock, it's not fully pop, but it's this kind of different sound, not experimental or anything like that. Not a lot of screaming, so no screamo, no emo going on. But Grayscale like really fit into that, so it was like kind of more a newer pop punk, but great energy. The lead singer had like a style that uh, like Freddie Mercury kind of look, which I don't know, but they were great. So they were the second opener. I think the first two openers played for 30 minutes each. The third opener was Nightly, also a Nashville based band. They seem to have the biggest crowd, like fandom present in the room. So I think they were like kind of the biggest, which makes sense. They were the third opener. Grayscale had a decent amount of fandom there as well, like people in it, but Nightly had people like in the merch, like singing and dancing, like every lyric, like really into it. By the time that Nightly came on, even when Grayscale came on, honestly, the room was pretty packed. By the time Nightly came on, it was packed, like fully packed. It was a very full room, probably sold out or close by the end of the night. But usually, some of the shows that we've been to there, like, aren't that packed. Like we saw Thursday, and um, the band that we saw with Thursday, that is slipping my mind because I'm poorly slept right now, and it will come to me later. Some big bands, and it was not fully sold out. Like this show just was really packed. What I found really interesting, and I think because of the openers, because Moody Joody, Grayscale, and Nightly were all younger, like in their 20s, so kind of a normal age to be touring. But the crowd was pretty darn young. Like there were people who were like maybe teens, lots of like 20s year olds, versus some of the shows that we've been to. Everyone's like in their 30s and 40s because it's like our music that we used to listen to. But even the Maine, I didn't realize how much of a young crowd they had. And I know that they came a little later than the big kind of emo pop punk wave that a lot of us are like kind of grew up with. But I didn't realize that it was so separated and just that their fandom was so young. So that was a big surprise to me, but it was cool, cool energy. Like it just very, very crowded. But Nightly was great. My husband said he listened to all of the openers in advance, and he was expecting like they had the band Camino kind of sound, so whatever you would consider that genre, which is again hard for me to define. Not really pop punk emo energy, so not the normal that we would usually listen to, but good energy, great performers. And I think that Nightly was on for like 40 to 45 minutes maybe. And then we had a little bit of a break, and then we had the Maine. So before we talk about their set, merch. I am wearing one of the tour shirts. It has this like cool snake. They had some fun shirts. They also have one that's kind of like a baseball tee that has like the map of the U.S. Like they like their merch was really cool, 100% cotton, like a really good material, which is really nice. They had some other stuff as well. We bought the new album Joy Next Door on vinyl at the show because I'd been listening to it. It was released, I think, the week before the show, and so I'd been listening to it and really loved it. So it's like I definitely want that on vinyl. So it's in our collection. And then a very Nashville thing is to do a special screen print or hatch print. I wish that it was a hatch print, but they did a special screen print. So they had two posters. We have one that's a tour poster signed for only like $30. And I'm pretty impressed that they just kind of sign all of them. But they also had this very special screen print from Boss Construction, which I think is a screen printer. But it's like a old school screen print. I'll show you. It's very big. So if you're not looking, if you're only listening, it is a lawn being mowed. And so there is a lawn chair on the lawn, so it's green. And then the Maine is like mowed over. So it's like a cutout of the grass. And then it says, I love you, but I chose the Maine, like the tour name, the bands that opened, the date, all of that. And it is signed on the bottom. So it's kind of like a little blurry because it's like a true screen print. And it looks like they actually signed it with marker. It's not like a signed thing. And it says that it is number 26 out of 30, if I'm reading that correctly. So that's all the amount that they printed. And we didn't get there that early. So like maybe the Maine people are not the biggest merch buyers, but we thought it was really cool. It was like $50. Which again, for a signed giant poster, not so bad. But we've been using posters in our upstairs kind of music, art, creative room in our house. And we're just having fun with it. Because what else do you do in your 30s? So we got a poster, got a vinyl, got a t-shirt. A good thing about this venue, a bad thing is you can't leave and come back, which is so frustrating. Our car was literally parked on the street, like right in front of the doors. We could have easily just run. They could have seen us, put it in the car, and come right back inside. We weren't even drinking or anything, right? And they don't let you do that. So that sucked. But they do have a little like coat check area where you can like get your merch and then check it. And it was only $3. So we did that instead. So we weren't holding like a big poster and a vinyl and all this stuff. I refuse to pay a lot of money for a bag, and I need to be better about like bringing tote bags and putting it in my pocket if I know I'm going to purchase merch. So lessons learned from me, but good option to have at that venue if you need something stored there. So that was the merch situation. There was a lot of cool stuff. The line wasn't too long. The other bands had some cool stuff as well. And they have just a good setup where you can stand in the merch line and be watching the show. You can see the stage until you're right at the front where your back is turned. So great setup, great experience. Enjoyed it. And that band that I forgot earlier is Silverstein. How could I forget? But again, bigger crowd at the Maine than Silverstein, which blows my mind, but different crowds. So maybe that's why. Again, this younger crowd. I don't know. So getting into the set list, I like the Maine. Again, I like their new music. I have not followed them heavily, so I don't know every song. I am not like a diehard fan, right? So really going into the show, like I was expecting to know about half the songs. Any of the new songs I would have definitely known because I'd been streaming that album since it was released. And I really wanted, there's one song of It's Not Over Yet. I love it. It's so good. And that was like the one song I was really hoping that they would play. They did not play it. We did leave a little early just because it was so late. Like 3 openers and then they started. I think the show started at 6 maybe. And it was on a Friday night, which was nice. But with the 3 openers in them, like the show probably wasn't over until closer to like 11. We got home at 11. I think we left at 10:30, and there were a couple songs left. So unless they somehow surprise played it without it being added to the set list and no one communicating it, which I doubt they did, they wouldn't have played this one last because it's not one of the singles. But we missed it. So I was pretty bummed that they didn't play that because I was really hoping for it. But I actually knew more of their songs than I thought just because I had been listening to them leading up to the show. And one thing about them is that even if you don't know the song lyrics to sing, like some concerts are just not as fun if you don't know the lyrics, in my opinion. But for them, like their songs are upbeat, they're fun. And his lead singer, like the energy is so good that like you dance and it's fun and enjoyable. And even though the crowd was kind of weird, like again, younger crowds are just, I don't want to sound like an old person, but it's just like shoving, like weird, like pushing people over, like tall dudes just like squeezing in front of shorter people without any regard for others, like spilling drinks, having full conversations during the set, just like weird energy that I don't love, but it's okay. Let them be young. Maybe that's a sign I need to get towards the back. But beyond that, it was fun. So, set list and maybe some surprises. So, they played the I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston was played before they came out. So, that I think has been happening throughout the tour. They started with Another Night on Mars, which was a fun one. I Think About You All the Time, Die to Fall, Sticky, which is fun. Like We Did, Windows Down version, like When We Were Young, that one. They played Taxi, Touch, Dose Number Two. I think that one is the one that is from their first album. Is they did play a throwback. So they're kind of doing, they didn't do like the whole eras thing, like, all the bands are doing right now, which I love. But they did, make a note that they played a song like a throwback from Can't Stop, Won't Stop. And it is not Dose Number Two. So I'm wrong about that. But they played that one, Kennedy Curse, the Song of Reverie, which was great. I wasn't expecting that one. They played Oh, I Loved You a Little, and that was one of the first surprises, which wasn't a surprise, but Charlotte Sands lives in Nashville, so she came on the stage, performed that with them. It was fun. She has great energy too. Everyone was excited to see her, but definitely expected. I would have been more surprised if she did not show up just because she is based in Nashville, so totally makes sense, and she's on that song. They did Palms, We All Roll Along. That is the one that is from Can't Stop, Won't Stop. So a good backwards look into the past. Bad Behavior, Slip the Noose. It's one of my favorites. I like that one. My Heroine, Quiet Part Loud, Blame, Take Me Dancing. That's When We Left. So they started this one when we left. And this one they performed with like members of Grayscale, Moody, Judy, and Nightly all together, which was fun, like pulling everyone together. But they were announcing that of like, oh, we brought some friends out. And so we were planning on leaving. The reason we left early, and I think this happened for Silverstein as well, we had been traveling prior to this, really busy week, and we were running a race, like a 10K race at 6:30 a.m. the next morning. So we were already only going to get a few hours of sleep, and it was just at that point where our feet hurt. We were exhausted. We had gotten so much out of the show. Like it was probably an hour and a half set. So we had already seen over an hour of the set, really enjoyed it, like had a great time. So when they were like, okay, we're going to bring out a few friends, and then they announced it was going to be all the members of the openers, we were like, okay, great, let's go. So that was what they played when we left. And then after we left, they played Right Girl and, of course, Black Butterflies and Deja Vu, their big hit, kind of that emo anthem that they have, the most emo song that is there. So that was all really fun. They did play like for one of their songs, and I can't remember exactly which one it was. I should have done this a lot closer to actually doing the concert. It's been almost a week now because all of that stuff over the weekend was happening. There was too much going on. But they came into the crowd, and it might have been, surely it wasn't Sticky. They wouldn't have come out that early. No, it was the song, the throwback. So We All Roll Along. But he came out into the crowd, and they were filming the entire show. So I don't know if they're doing like a documentary, if they're doing that for all the shows. If they just did that for the show, but he did announce that like 3 songs in, and there were cameras like set up, like professional like cameras set up throughout, and he mentioned that they were filming the show, so they did a few things like with the audience too. So whenever he came out, so he split the crowd, came out into the crowd, which is very common for him to do, and then made like a little circle around him, picked out a few people that knew the song, and they all sang it together, and he encouraged everyone to like put their phones away, which again, 20s did not do it. But he sang the song, pulled a few people that knew the lyrics in, and like recorded that and then went back to the stage. So it was cool. It was like I didn't know the song very well. Again, not a diehard fan, but I'm sure those who were getting to hear that and like kind of be part of that moment was special. And that it'll be cool to see like what is done later in terms of whatever they were filming. I don't know if they're doing anything special. If you've been to any of the other shows on the tour in a different city, are they playing other songs? Like, have they been slowly debuting the new album? Because they started this tour before the new album was released. What's going on at the other shows? Like, are they doing something different during that little section? And then are they filming all of that separately to then put it all together, like to compile for a tour, documentary, video, the thing everyone's doing? Maybe. They seem to be leaning pretty heavily into a lot of different forms of media with this new album release. So it's exciting to see what they decide to do. But that was our night. Pretty chill. Like the setup of the show was like pretty simple. The venue doesn't really encourage a lot. They did have some screens and like videos, and it was kind of that style a lot of bands are going for now, where it's like it's the live video, but it's like edited in a way to look kind of like film, and then like changing up frequently and like cool angles. Don't love that as a short girl that usually can't see the stage and you have to rely on the videos, but it was cool in that venue just because you can see the stage pretty well. As long as you're not right behind someone way taller than you, you can typically squeeze in a spot to see something. So that was cool. But the stage itself was like pretty simple. They had it set up as like a house. And so he did go on like the couch and like did one song from the couch, but only one. So I don't know if at the end he did some more. I was definitely expecting more use of that because that took up a large portion of the stage. But with the new album being Joy Next Door, I think it's like meant to be like a house. And so they had like a little white picket fence look up there, but that was about it. There wasn't a large stage design or big thing going on. Like they kept it pretty simple. And then lead singer, his typical style he wore, he had something else on over, like maybe a jacket. Honestly, I can't remember. Maybe a vest. Um, and then he had his pants with the suspenders with like the white tank top underneath, like ribbed tank top. And so he had an overshirt of some sort on and took it off within the first like 3 songs, which is just typical. So a lot of things that were expected, which is nice. Sometimes it's nice to have something that you expect, but still a great show. So if you have the opportunity to go, you definitely get your money's worth with all the openers and such a long set list. Good energy as always, and hopefully your crowd maybe is less young, or if you're young, explain like why is the crowd so young? Like what is the pull? Is it the style? Was it the period of time of release? Like, am I missing something in their history where they like really took off at a certain period of time where like all the people who are like in their 20s, like early 20s right now, were like maybe at that teenage at that point? Like, I don't know what I'm missing here, but definitely a younger crowd than I expected. So curious to know why, if you have insights into that. It's not a bad thing. I'm just curious because I didn't expect it. So that's it for our show recap. Our next episode, we have another show recap. Miss Haley Williams, Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party. So enjoy that. And then we get back to our band deep dives and then some future recaps because we are full on in concert season now. No more super long breaks. Like we're fully into it. So excited for the shows that are to follow. See you in our next class.